You are listening to the Coins, Currency, and American History podcast, presented by Littleton Coin Company.
Every great civilization leaves behind its ruins, its art, and its heroes. But the story of America can be told through something smaller, something we can hold in our hands. A coin. Coins are the fingerprints of a nation. This is the story of the United States of America. From colonies to social experiment to global economic leader.
Episode 21, The Lost Cause and Reconstruction. The Civil War had ended. The maps once again showed a single nation. Reconstruction had brought the southern states back into the Union under new rules. Yet, for many in the South, the deeper wound lingered. The region that once helped shape national policy now found itself watching from the sidelines as northern banks, railroads, and factories set the pace. In the quiet space, Southerners began searching for their own way to make sense of defeat and move forward with a measure of dignity. That search gave rise to what later generations would call the Lost Cause, a powerful way of remembering the war that helped a defeated people preserve their pride as they lived under terms they had not chosen. When the Confederacy surrendered in 1865, Southern armies stacked their rifles and headed home. The world waiting for them looked nothing like the one they had left. Plantations stood in ruins. The old cotton credit networks that once reached across the ocean had collapsed. Confederate notes were worthless. In their place came national banknotes and federal banking laws shaped largely without Southern voices. By 1870, the South had gone from being a major force in national politics to a deader region short on capital and industry. Everyday money told part of that story. National banknotes, uniform, backed by U.S. bonds, and issued through federally chartered banks now circulated where Confederacy currency once ruled. Fractional notes, born of wartime necessity, still turned up in pockets as small change. While the United States Mint slowly resumed production, striking Liberty-seated silver coins and other pieces under federal authority that now reached deep into Southern life. Living with defeat day after day required more than silence. People needed a story that gave meaning to what had happened. The Lost Cause offered that story. It spoke of Confederate soldiers as brave and honorable, fighting for states' rights and a cherished way of life. It remembered Southern leaders as noble figures and pictured the North prevailing mainly through sheer numbers and industrial strength. In this telling, Reconstruction appeared heavy-handed and often corrupt. The narrative gave Southerners a way to hold their heads up high as they went about their lives and find coherence after loss. Real power, financial, industrial, and political, had shifted northward, and so the South turned to memory instead. Veterans groups, women's memorial associations, and local societies raised monuments, tended cemeteries, and shaped the stories children learned in school. They kept alive an image of the Old South centered on honor and order. In daily life, the contrast showed up in the money itself. Even as the U.S. Mint in Philadelphia and its branch facilities struck coins for the reunited nation, many Southern communities still relied on the familiar fractional currency notes and whatever credit they could arrange locally. Those small paper pieces served as quiet reminders of a new national system that had taken root while the South was absent from the conversation. The Lost Cause didn't rebuild factories or restore plantations. It filled the empty spaces with symbols and stories that preserved a sense of identity. No one talked seriously about leaving the Union again. Instead, many in the South simply stepped back from the national story taking shape around them. While the North celebrated industrial growth and the West chased new opportunity, the South looked inward. Progress elsewhere sometimes felt like a reminder of its own losses. A single currency now linked the country in commerce. National banknotes and the smaller silver coins minted under federal authority passed from hand to hand across regions. Yet beneath that shared money, cultural separation lingered. The South remained inside the same borders and under the same flag, but it nurtured its own understanding of what had happened and of what America had become. By the 1880s, the South had settled into a one-party system. Democrats spoke of redemption, meaning the recovery of local control from federal oversight. Northern attention had turned to railroads, immigration, and booming industries, so the arrangement held. The United States became one nation under law, yet in daily experience it still felt like three distinct regions: an industrial and financial North, an expansive, expanding West, and a South that had prized local autonomy and drew strength from its past. After the Civil War, industrialization transformed the North and West. Factories multiplied, railroads webbed the continent, and capital flowed freely. However, the South's economy remained tied closely to cotton. Sharecropping and crop-lien systems took the place of the old plantation economy. National banks operated in southern cities and towns, but large-scale industrial investment largely passed them by. Coins and currency reflected those differences. While the mints produced Liberty-seated and early Morgan silver dollars for wider circulation, many everyday transactions in the South still relied on fractional currency notes and the local credit. Although the monetary system had unified transactions across the map, the economic paths of the North, South, and West continued to diverge. The Civil War had ended legal slavery and forced political reunion. Reconstruction imposed new rules from Washington, and the Lost Cause supplied the cultural framework that let the South live with both. While it honored the antebellum world, it didn't bring it back. Instead, it created a post-war identity rooted in memory rather than new industry, in regional dignity rather than national power. It allowed the South to remain distinct and separate without another attempt at secession. Next time, the speed of industrialization accelerated. Railroads redrew maps and the nation's economy. Fortunes were being built on a scale few had imagined possible. Credit was becoming truly national, and speculation was turning into a structural force in American life. Next time on Coins, Currency, and American History, the Gilded Age, when capital outgrew money itself. We hope you've enjoyed this episode of the Coins, Currency, and American History podcast presented by Littleton Coin Company. You can find out more about coins and currency in our free Learn Center at www.littletoncoin.com/learn. It's filled with fascinating facts about U.S. coins, world coins, ancient coins, paper money, and more, as well as helpful tips for collectors of all levels. You'll even find free collector guides, checklists, and virtual albums to help you get started and keep track of your growing collection. And while you're there, be sure to check out our online store. Visit www.littletoncoin.com today.